us here. But now on to the big CNBC TV 18 exclusive story that we're breaking for you on your screens. Remember, deposits in the system, the data has not been revealed by the Reserve Bank of India or by the government so far. Sources tell us, and these are government sources, that deposits have touched 15 lakh crore rupees already. Sapna joins us now with the exclusive details. So, Sapna, almost 15 lakh crores back in the system?
That's right. Close to 15 lakh, very close to 15 lakh crores is already back in the system, and these are provisional numbers as of 31st December. We also get to hear that yes, some of them are being reworked or maybe even reviewed, but that is something that we have to wait for. So as of now, this is a very clear indication that's coming in. This is very close to the value of the demonetized currency base of 15.4 lakh crores, which has been estimated together by the government as well as the RBI, indicating that most of the money is now back. And let's also keep one thing more in mind. The Reserve Bank of India counters are open for some restricted deposits. So this number, I mean, there's a very low possibility of this number getting revised downwards. In fact, it may either stay at the same level in case there's some major reworking in process, or it may even see a further, a slight uptick further.
Okay, Sapna, hang in there. Let me bring in Latha as well. Latha. Okay, so Sapna, you know, so far, and you asked that question to the finance minister, you didn't really get much of an answer. But the Reserve Bank hasn't put out the deposit numbers. The government hasn't put out any numbers either so far. And that seems to be, you know, giving rise to a lot of speculation on what the final number could be. I mean, you know, we have no clarity whatsoever post the 12th of December from the Reserve Bank on the deposit number.
That's right. I think that data is still awaited. This is something that the financial officials, also senior officials, had indicated earlier, that the data crunching will take some time. The number crunching that will happen, you know, in some time. And since some of the RBI counters are also open for restricted deposits from the NRIs and from foreign citizens and from you know, one or two other very restricted few categories that have been allowed to do so. So that will be work in progress, I suppose. But you know, this is the number that we have put out today is a very clear indication, a very confident indication as of now, that, you know, a very large part of this money is back in the system. And this is something that CNBC TV 18 has been reporting consistently from 30th November, 1st December onwards, if you look at the trend of the numbers that we have been putting out. And that's very much in line with that. Even if there's a major rehaul here, I don't suppose the number will really go, you know, below a certain level. I don't think it will really fall, you know, to an extent that, you know, may indicate that, yes, probably, you know,
sure. Yeah, so this is a provisional number is what you're saying, but you know, maybe we will see a revision upwards or downwards. But Latha with us now. Latha, you know, Sapna has been breaking the deposit data story for us for over the past month now, and it seems like almost 15 lakh crores are back in the system. Close to this sort of a number was doing the rounds that was put out by another news agency a few days ago. So we still have no clarity from the Reserve Bank.
Okay, and I would think that it's a shame. You know, the Reserve Bank week after week gives you with a 2-week lag the amount of deposits in the system to a T. There is no way that they don't have a system of telling us what is the number of notes that has come back, because they exchange paper for paper every currency that has come in with the new notes. There is no excuse to say that they're reconciling. What can they possibly reconcile? I mean, if it is post office double counting, at the Reserve Bank saying there is no double counting. For an old paper, they're putting in a new paper. At the currency chest level, there possibly cannot be any double counting or any confusion at all, except obduracy, lack of transparency, wanton opaqueness. There is nothing else that explains the refusal. This is not the inability of the central bank to tell us how many old notes they have. This is the refusal of the central bank or the ministry, as the case may be. Since all the communication in this case is coming from the ministry, it is a failure on the part of the ministry as well to communicate this number to us. It is definitely a number which they're probably embarrassed about, and that's why they aren't putting it out. In any case, somewhere down the line, it became an issue of not discovering black money, but to to allow people to come and treat it as an amnesty. So now there isn't even any shamefacedness. Yes, we have made it an amnesty scheme, so more people have declared their money and all the money will come in. I cannot understand the reason for, therefore, not declaring it now that it is in any case an amnesty scheme. The important takeaway from this is, one, there is no dividend. Even an academic discussion, there is no room. And secondly, the other big reason why perhaps this number is not being revealed is you're postponing the embarrassment. Why was this exercise undertaken at all? If all the money is only going to come back to the system, why was this exercise undertaken? It is primarily to push away that question, perhaps, that both sides are not admitting to the number.
Well, the response from the government so far has been that the Reserve Bank will need time to reconcile the numbers. At least that's the government line. And we were hoping that post the December 30th deadline that we would have had some clarity coming in on deposits, etc. But that hasn't been the case. So this is, of course, a source-based number. But this is government sources giving us this number that we've put out. It is a provisional number as of the 31st of December. So, Latha, you know, before we close, we also just heard from the finance minister saying very categorically that indirect and direct tax collections revenues will be higher than even the budget estimate. I mean, that is certainly a headline. And we are awaiting now the GDP data on the 6th of January. Do we expect any impact to show up as far as the CSO's number is concerned? At least of the demonetization exercise?
Well, the CSO is very clear that it is not in the business of forecasting and guessing. It is in the business of producing data, counting the actual amount of output and putting out that number. They have data only up to October for IIP, industrial output. The November number will come only on January 12th. And as of 6th and even as of today, the topmost rung of the CSO officials told me they do not have the IIP number even for November. So there is no question of them being able to tell you exactly what the demonetization impact is. Normally, an advance estimate is given in February, just 20 days before the budget. It's given usually on February 8th. And all that the Central Statistical Organization does it has data up to December, that is 9 months data, and it merely divides it by 9 and multiplies by 12 and gives you the 12-month data with some seasonal adjustment for the winter months. It does not try to forecast, and no advance estimate of the CSO should be even purported to be a forecast. It is just a working number so that the budget can be made for the next year. And, the Central Statistical Organization, even in the past, under Dr. Pranab Sen, had protested saying, don't make us give that number. But, they were weighed down by the Reserve Bank and the government. And therefore, the practice of giving that number started. The CSO is extremely uncomfortable giving that number, even when it was February 8. Now, with a big event happening between the period for which they have data, which is October, and now period for which they have to extrapolate, the entire exercise becomes completely meaningless. So the GDP number that will be announced on Jan 6th should not be given any importance.
All right, Latha, thanks very much for joining us. But getting back to the story that we just broke, the story that Sapna broke on the deposit number, she asked the finance minister that very question for a comment on whether the deposit number is in fact close to 15 lakh crores. Here's what the finance minister had to say.
31st December is now way past. We're getting to hear now that 15 lakh crores almost has come back into the system.
I don't know the number, but when you know it, please tell me.
Well, that's the finance minister not commenting on the deposit data. With that, it is time for us to wrap up the CNBC TV 18 special, where we've discussed the GST negotiations, the impact of demonetization on the GST negotiations, the possibility of a breakthrough on the 16th of January when the GST Council meets, and that big headline coming in from the finance minister saying that there will be a significant increase in both direct and indirect tax collections, higher than the budget estimates for this year. That and more when we return. For now, thanks very much for watching.